Hi, I'm Nicola from Bloom Solopreneur, and I'm going to be going through a series of tutorials on how to use my financial planner or spreadsheet. So the first one will cover all of the tabs that are in it so that you can see what's included. The next one will cover just the basic budgeting, how you manage your income, outgoings and a budget. And the third one will be to do with assets and liabilities, so your savings, debts, debt trackers, debt calculator, and how that all works. Hopefully that should be enough, and I'll see how it goes. Thanks a lot, let's get going. So here we are in the My Financial Life spreadsheet, and we're on the first tab in the sheet, which really just gives you some simple guidelines on how to use the sheet. The first tab after that is the setup. This describes some of the categories that you can use when defining your budget. Now these categories are just names of groups or pots or buckets of money where you want to allocate a certain amount each month. So these names can be changed to anything you want, and you can then, once they're changed, they're then used throughout your budgeting and expenses. This is your main dashboard, so it gives you a historical representation of how you've been spending your money throughout the year. So the top section are charts, and then the bottom section, if we scroll down, is tables that represent the data that's in the charts. So if you want to go and see what values are in there specifically, you can go and look at the table. If it's highlighted in pink, any fields that are highlighted in pink like these ones, then don't use them. They're used for the charts and are calculated accordingly. So if you make any changes there, it will change how the spreadsheet works. And that goes throughout the whole of the spreadsheet. Anything that's highlighted in this pink colour, then it's got automatic calculations in there, so you're just entering data in white cells. But anyway, we're at this dashboard. What we have at the very top is your total net worth. It takes your assets and subtracts your liabilities and tells you how much you have got available to you if you happen to sell everything in all one go and pay off all of your debts. So it's useful to know, but not necessarily something that you can access straight away. The next row of charts below that is about your assets and liabilities. So you've got a spread of where your assets lie. So in this particular area, we have got the majority is set in the large and fixed assets section, and that's likely to be a mortgage, but we've also got some in personal investments and savings. So that spread will change depending on your own personal perspective, and it will automatically alter as and when you fill in the data in the appropriate tabs. The liabilities similarly is your debts that you have. And again, mortgage is key in there, and that will also change as and when you enter information in the spreadsheet. This chart here shows you your savings goals. So we have a savings tracker, and you can allocate money to different savings goals, and it will track how much you've saved against the goal that you have, and hopefully you'll see yourself getting closer and closer. And as an alternative, here's your debt. So it's again a debt tracker, so it gives you a total amount that you're in debt by, and as you start, if you fill in the debt tracker, it will take your payments and gradually show where you are going forward as well. The next section is all about your budgeting, so it's all about your income and your spending, so your actual and bills and so on. So this first one is a month-by-month account of how you're spending your money based on against what your income is and what you're spending. So as we can see, there is more income than there is spending, so that's a good thing. The next pie chart shows you the spread of your income, so where you're getting your income from. And the next bar chart is showing you your average monthly spend by category. So it takes, depending on where you are in the year, it takes the average for all of those months up to the current point in time, averages them out and compares it against your budget to see how well you're doing. The final chart is showing you on a month by month basis how you are spending against your categories, so how much each category, how much you've spent in each category per month. So hopefully all of that information gives you a good high-level overview of how you're using your money. We also have another summary month. This is a monthly budget view. So it takes the current month, which is May at the moment. It will automatically change each month, and takes in your budget for that month that you've entered, and the bills that are allocated for that month, the actual expenses that you've spent, totals them all up, and then the difference of whether you've overspent or underspent on them. So the red indicates that you've overspent on entertainment. It looks like we haven't allocated a budget yet. We've spent £150, so we've had some money go out there, and equally on utilities we've overspent there as well. So this is just this current month, and that information is then represented in the overview dashboard as well, but this is just really to target down onto the current month to see where you are. And as I say, as the new month comes in, then it will automatically change so that you can see where you are in the next new month. The next tab is the monthly budget, so you enter what you're budgeting, what you plan to spend each month. You only need to do it once. It's a guide month, so to speak, so it will show you what you plan each month. Now, this may change throughout the course of the year. Values may change, go up and go down, but in general, once you've done it once, you could probably leave it for a lot of the time. The top section tells you what your current month is, get your income, and tells you straight away whether, based on that budget, you have overspent or not. So at the moment we've got a surplus of £845, which is great and can be used in however you want to allocate it, ideally within your budget, so you know where you are. The next tab is income, so it's a rolling spreadsheet for your income, so you just keep adding each row that you need in there, and it will add it to the charts. So by putting the date in there, it will know what month it relates to and accordingly update the charts with that figure. The next one is monthly bills. This is to help ease data entry so that you don't keep entering the same thing every month. So anything that is consistent every month, put in your monthly bills, and then you don't need to re-enter it in the actual expenses. It's just entered once and forgotten about. Obviously those values can change throughout the year, so a bill may change. I wouldn't necessarily do it on a monthly by monthly basis, but it may be that you have something that is updated on an annual basis. You can then put in the end month and the start month of the new value, and the chart will then reflect accordingly those bills so that it's showing you the new amount from the month it starts. You then have the actual expenses, so this is your rolling expenses on a month by month basis. So you put in the date, it knows the spreadsheet will know which month that relates to and update all of the charts accordingly. So you just keep adding extra rows in here as and when you need to. You've then got assets. This details all of your assets. Everything that you own that has some value can be put in there. The top two rows are calculated from other areas in the spreadsheet, so don't update those. That will automatically populate for you, and then you can just input any extra assets that you have within that's worth entering in here. The chart will show you the spread of where all of your assets lie. Then go into savings, so it's a savings tracker. You can enter any savings goals that you may have, or you can just update any, keep a historical record of you allocating that money into savings. It's an optional spreadsheet. It's an optional sheet, this, as to whether you want to use it or not, but it just keeps track of any goals that you may want to use, and that then is filtered back into your assets field there in the assets tab. The debts has been spread into 3 different sheets, each of which are optional as to whether you use it or not. This one gives you an overview of all of the different debts that you have, and you may just have it there to keep a record, and you manage that yourself from everything else. That overview, that total value, is then taken into the dashboard and is taken into account in this net worth, and it's also taken into account in this dashboard, so you can see the spread of your liabilities. So that this overview page feeds into those charts. The next one is a debt calculator, so you can use it as a snowball calculator or whatever term you want to use. Basically, if you've got a debt, you can put in the amount, you can put in the interest rate that you charged, and then it'll work out what your minimum payment is for that debt. And if you then put in how much additional payments you want to make, so how you want to overpay it, i.e. so that you can actually pay the thing off, then it will then tell you how many months you have to pay it off at that rate, at that additional monthly spend. So the top section shows you what you've budgeted for in the budget. So if we look here, we have a debt category, which is against a car loan, for £115. So currently we've budgeted to pay £115 off in debt. The minimum payment for these 3 amounts is £60. Therefore, it only leaves £55 left to overpay an amount, which is why we've got red figures here. This spreadsheet is really just there to help you calculate how long it will take to pay off the debt by making overpayments. The debt tracker helps you take a debt amount and track how you are paying it off, so how much you've got left with the payments that you've made. If you've used the calculator, it will pre-populate it, but you don't have to. You can type in the values there and it will work out what values it is, and it'll tell you what left to pay based on the values that you enter in the debt tracker. So again, these are optionals, but by doing it, you'll then see your historical chart of how much remaining debt you have. We've then got a share portfolio tab, which allows you to keep a record of any shares that you have, and by changing what the current share price is as and when you want to use it, it will tell you how much you've gained or lost over that time. So if that one there, we paid 20 pence for it and we've gained 50p, but if it's now gone back down to say 15 pence, then we've lost again on it, so it's minus 25. We're still overall up because we have got a very good positive there. So if we change that to let's say £8, so we're even, it's still up. Anyway, it will calculate as an overall view your portfolio of where you are, and then it will, the table will tell you individually whether you're up and down for each particular share. Now the remaining tabs is really just for information. So it's recording information that you may want to keep. So in the UK we have a self-assessment form we have to fill in for tax, and one of the things it asks you is what charities you've paid for, and you get some sort of reimbursement back for doing that. So I like to keep a record of the charitable payments I've made, so that I can then just easily look at this and then put it straight into the self-assessment. But it's up to you whether you use that. We've an online shopping tracker, so by entering what you buy online, you can keep track of to remind you you've bought it, and then when it was actually delivered, so that you don't lose track of where you are and how much you've spent. So again, just fill that in, add rows as and when you want. The next one is just a record of your credit cards, so just keeping track of what credit cards you've got. Again, it's not going to do anything other than just recording that information for you. Similarly with the accounts, it's just a tracker of keeping an eye on the account, so you remember what you've got. And again, subscriptions, it's just to remind you that you've got a subscription and it will renew on such and such a date, and the amount is this, and so on, so that you don't forget and it automatically renews if you'd intended for it to stop. It just gives you that heads up as to what you've got coming out of your accounts. And finally, there's a password tracker, so if you want to record what password you've got for each website, then you can record it there. But there you have it, that's everything that's in the spreadsheet. The next section of the tutorials, part 2, will look at the budgeting side of things, so your actual expenses, your bills, income, and how to enter them. And then part 3 will look at assets and liabilities. Thank you for your time listening to this. Hopefully it was useful and shows you what's in the spreadsheet, and just take a look at part 2.